apologize for the inconvenience. Actually, here I'm having so much network issues. All right. Namaste and a very good evening to my respected guide and the admin of the philosophy family, Dr. Pramad Kumar Das, and my respected dignitaries and professors and all my dear friends present here today. I am Kseya Roy. I am a research scholar from the University of North Bengal. Today, the title of my paper is The Concept of Detachment in the Isopanisad. I'll begin with a chant of a Shanti mantra. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Whenever we want to say something about the Upanishads, we remember the famous German philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer saying, "In the whole world, there is no study so beneficial and so elevating as that of the Upanishads. It has been the solace of my life, and it will be the solace of my death." Today, I'll talk about the Isha Upanishad. The Isha Upanishad is a part of the Shukla Yajur Veda. It contains total 18 shlokas. Among them, we will mainly focus on the first sloka. Regarding the importance of the first sloka, Mahatma Gandhi said, "If all of Hinduism, with all of its texts and scriptures, would like to disappear, and only the first sloka of the Isha Upanishad remains, then all of Hinduism remains." This much is the importance of the first sloka of the Isha Upanishad. Now let us see what is in the very first sloka. The first sloka says, Ishabhasyamidang sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjitha ma gridha kasya svidhanam. Here, in this very shloka, we find a beautiful amalgamation of the three yogas, Jnana Yoga, Bhukti Yoga, and Karma Yoga. And in the Karma Yoga, we find the concept of detachment in details. So let us come to the concept of detachment step by step. The shloka begins with a huge statement, that is, Isha Vasya Vidang Sarvam Yatkincha Jagatyam Jagat. Jagat means this dynamic word. Yatkincha Jagat means whatever is moving or whatever is constantly changing. Idang Sarvam, all this Ishavasyam is covered by the same Lord. It is saying that the whole world is moving, is constantly changing, constantly evolving. But this whole world is nothing but the expression of one unchanging reality. Just like a river cannot flow without a fixed substratum, the whole world, the whole world in motion cannot exist without depending on one unchanging reality, that is Isha or the Supreme Lord. Isha or the Supreme Lord is the same principle which is the soul of the universe and manifests itself as the universe, as Tagore beautifully puts it in his beautiful song. সীমার মাঝে অসীম তুমি বাজাও আপন সুর আমার মধ্যে তোমার প্রকাশ তাই এত boundless. Within the bound, you play your tune. That is why your expression through me so astounds. Here we find a tinge of Bhakti Yoga if we give a close look, since only a real Bhakta can see the Lord in everything, like Bhakta Prahlad. Now, as we proceed to the next slokas, we see the Isopanishad does not stop here. In response to the deepest quest of the human heart, that is, what is the position of me or I in the universe, the Isopanishad claims beautifully, Yaha aso aso Saha aham asmi. I am he, the Purusha, the Supreme Lord, underlying everything. I am he. Swami Vivekananda beautifully puts it through an analogy between the waves and ocean. He shows us that as the waves are nothing but the ocean itself, in the similar way, you and I and we all are nothing but the Brahman itself in the reality. Next, we find a minute shift from the Jnana Yoga to the Karma Yoga as the Isopanishads reads, Tena tyaktena bhunjitha, that is, enjoy delight through renunciation. Renunciation of what? Renunciation of our attachment or desire towards the results of an action. Now, one may ask that how is it possible to enjoy through renunciation or through detachment? We common people think that we'll become happy if I get this or if I get that. We think that I'll become happy when I'll become rich, or I'll become happy when my son or daughter will become a doctor or engineer, like that. But the Vedanta shows you are pure bliss by your own nature. You need not any instrument or medium to be happy. You are the Satchit Ananda Sarupa. So aham asmi. And since it is this Brahman, it is the very inner being of me who has become all this whole world is my family. And hence, in this sense, we can enjoy delight through the detachment or through the sacrifice of our small interests or our self-interests, just like a mother delights by sacrificing for her children, a lover delights by sacrificing for her beloved. Next, when we come to the second shloka, it is saying, Kurvanniveha karmani jijivishet shatang samaha evang tvayi nanyatheta asti na karma lipyate nare. It is saying that we human beings cannot exist without performing action. So the mere renunciation of our worldly desires and attachment will not help. We have to keep on performing our duties with a detached mind. Now, we have to keep in our mind that a detached action does not mean an aimless action. As Swami Vivekananda beautifully puts its aim thus that Atma Makshartham and Jagat Hitayacham. That is, the aim of every detached action is twofold. The first one is Atma Mokshartham. In order to explain it, we can take the help of a beautiful analogy cited by Sri Shankaracharya in his Bhashya. He says that when a sandalwood is put into water for a long time, it creates a layer on it, which smells foul. Now, if we want to find out the inner fragrance of the sandalwood, then what we have to do? We have to rub it. Similarly, it is saying us that it is due to ignorance. We have forgotten our real nature. If we want to find out our real nature, we have to keep on performing actions with detached mind. It is just like the rubbing of the sandalwood to find out its real fragrance, its inner fragrance, its real nature. And the second point, that is Jagat Hitayacham. To put it simply, we can say that the aim or the slogan of every Nishkama Karmi should be Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhaga Bhavit Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So these are the two main principles of the concept of detachment found in the Upanishad. And here I would like to conclude. Thank you so much. Sir, am I audible?
Yes, audible, audible. Okay, thanks so much, Ms. Kherai, for your very clear and short paper on the concept of detachment in Isopanisad. And you have Um, at first, you have started with the view of Mahatma Gandhi and the first verse of Isopanisad. Yeah, and you have tried to reflect the concept of detachment, and you have tried to analyze it. You have made a conceptual analysis of detachment in a connection with the Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. And you say that in order to do our action in a detached way, detached mind, and you have given very beautiful analogies given by Swami Vivekananda, Shankaracharya, and others. Very good paper, but it needs to be extended now. Thanks so much for your very beautiful paper, very short paper. Now over to Professor Dr. K. Omanan Rao to carry on the interactive session. Over to Dr. Rao.
Thank you, Dr. Maharana. Well, I should thank Kseya Roy for her very clear voice in spite of the network issues. Her voice is so good while reciting the verses. Maybe she is having a practice in say I think music and all that. Maybe it's very clear, very nice when she's reciting the slokas. Very nicely done. Well, we have with us Dr. Kailash Das sir and Anup sir. Well, I request Dr. Das to have his observations. Dr. Kailash Das.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Kailash Das sir. Yes,
Ah,
yes sir.
ah, yes, yes. Thank you, Mr. Romis Roy, that you have very lucidly presented your paper, and we were really very glad to listen to your oration of the verses so nicely and clearly. And at the same time, you have told two things in Upanishadic observations about the Niskam Karma. Do you think that Upanishadic philosophy of this Niskam Karma, or what you said, detached action, is anything to do with the ethics or epistemology? Number one is epistemology because we are saying ignorance is the cause of all our suffering and everything. So right knowledge should be there. We should have a Brahma Jnana. So this is epistemology. But if you say that we think Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, these are ethical doctrines that you have pointed out. So is it the philosophical undertone is ethical or epistemological, basically? Because we have given a lot of importance to knowledge. At the same time, I have said this. So what is the basis for which we can say that the Indian philosophical, Upanishadic philosophy is more towards an ethical consideration, though no formal ethics is being discussed, but there is a undertone of a great ethics in it. But at the same time, most of the philosophies are talking about liberation, and the liberation is in knowledge. So knowledge is given a lot of importance, or ethics is given a lot of importance, or it is given importance according to you. This is my observation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir, if I'm not wrong, you wanted to know that whether this concept of Nishkama Karma, as cited in the Upanishad, is connected with epistemology or not. Sir, could I understand correctly?
Yes, right.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for such beautiful questions, sir, and thought-provoking question, first of all. Sir, when I was discussing, I highlighted three main points. Those are Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Karma Yoga. In reality, when we practice it, we cannot make a watertight distinction between them in reality. What is said in the Jnana Yoga, I think it is not separate from epistemology, what we are trying to find in the epistemology. And the Nishkama Karma or the Karma Yoga that we are discussing right now, it is mainly coming in the ethics portion, and it is the right knowledge which leads us to an ethical or moral discourse, isn't it? So, sir, I think that obviously this Karma Yoga, to some extent, is dependent on this Jnana Yoga or epistemology. It is only when we have a right cognition of truth, then spontaneously the nishkama karma comes. We do not need to make any effort. And when we are not having, in the beginning, when we are not having a right cognition, we are on the way to achieve it, then we can practice it. Then also we can practice the karma yoga with the detached mind. But I think jnana yoga or epistemology is very much needed in order to become a nishkama karmi spontaneously. Thank you, sir. That is my response.
Well, thank you, Kseya.
Thank you.
Well, let's move to Dr. Anup Rai, sir. Anup, sir, are you there?
Uh,
Yes.
I again thank Kseya Roy for your beautifully presented paper. Beautiful in the sense that your presentation is so nice. You have a voice of a singer and lucidity of a teacher. And your recitations of the verses, so cause really beautiful, as if you are habituated with regularly you recite the slokas, it appears. Anyway, in your paper, you mainly, of course, very nicely, uh, gave importance on or elaborated unity in diversity and niskam karma, a very two important concepts of Vedantic philosophy. But your theme is of your paper is detachment. That needed a bit more elaboration. You told a lot. You discussed a lot about the concept of detachment should have been elaborated, explained a bit more. That's my observation. Otherwise, it's a very nice. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Roy. Well, I have a question for Kseya. Well, Kseya, can you please tell me, is detachment possible without attachment? Is detachment possible without attachment? How do you see this?
Thank you so much, sir. This is the question which comes when we talk about nishkama karma, that how nishkama karma is possible, because whenever we act, we have always an end in our hand, in our mind. And towards it, in order to get it or in order to refrain from it, we do an action, right? So, sir, first of all, sir, I would like to highlight that nishkama karma, how will we define it? In English, if we try to define it, we say it is detached action. First of all, it is detached action and it is not disinterested action. Okay. What I mean by disinterested action, it is like that I have a lethargy for doing something, that is disinterested action. And when we are coming to detached action, it is something different. We will be working with our full zeal, with our full spirit. But we will not expect the result. And how is it possible? And here Swami Vivekananda is beautifully pointing out that first of all, we have to keep it in our mind that a detached action does not mean an aimless action. Okay. So it has aim. So the next question comes that if it has an aim, that means it has an interest, it has an end, then how can we say that it is a detached action? Second, now in order to clarify this point, this answer, I would like to point out two concepts from the Upanishad, Katha Upanishad mainly, that is the concept of Shreya and Preya. Preya is the interest, Preya is that action which is not interest, Preya is that action which is motivated by the self-interest. Okay. And Shreya is that action which is motivated by bigger or collective interest. Prayer is that which seems good, which seems pleasant to me, but Shreya is that which brings total well-being. In the case of an individual, it brings well-being to the mind and body of the individual, and in the from the perspective of society, Shreya brings the well-being of both individual and the society as well. Well, now when we are talking about detached action, then what, what are we eliminating here? We are eliminating the attachment or desires to the result of the action, and what are the results? The results which are mainly centered around our self-interests. Those are the prayers. So detached action, first of all, does not center around prayer or our self-interests, but it has two aims. Detached action has two aims, as Swami Vivekananda is showing. One is Atma Mokshartham, and as well as at the same time Jagat Hitayacham. That is, it is totally centering around Shreya. And when we are coming to the Shreya, there is no point of self-interest only. So, sir, in this sense, it is detached action, and in this sense, a detached action is possible without attachment towards our self-interests. That is it, sir. Hope I could reach your answer.
Well, thank you, Kseya. Well, one thing, let me address. Being in this world, we cannot keep ourselves away from being attached. You see, being in the world, we are attached. We cannot help ourselves. But we have to go on with this attachment, always with a sense of detachment. So we are attached to this world. We cannot keep away from being attached, but we should carry a sense of detachment every way. We should be attached to something, and but there should be always a sense of detachment. That is how we can go. Well, you have nearly come. We have nearly you two said a similar thing. Well, thank you. Well, one more question. Say, as you pointed out that in renunciation we enjoy. Well, we understand this, but I want to know from you how, as you even pointed out, that when we acquire something, we feel like we enjoy it. Something we get, we enjoy. But in the scriptures, in the Upanishad, we find a reverse description that in renunciation we enjoy. So please, how do you see this?
Thank you so much, sir, for such beautiful questions, and these are really enlightening me. Okay, thank you, sir. I will try to give the answer in my way, the way I could understand. So when we say that tena tyaktena bhunjitha, that is enjoy delight through renunciation, right? So we common people, what comes in our mind that I'll become happy or will become happy if I get this or if I get that, but it is saying the totally opposite, that you enjoy delight through renunciation, through detachment, through giving, by giving up the desires. How is it? And the Upanishad is beautifully taking us to the answer. It is showing us in the first of all, in the beginning of the shloka, it is saying that Isha Vasyam Idang Sarvang Yat Kincha Jagatyam Jagat. All this in this universe, whatever moves and whatever does not move, is covered by the same Lord. Next, where is it taking us? It is the Upanishad, like our mother, is holding our hand and is taking us, is pointing towards us that who are you in this universe? What is your position in this universe? It is saying in reply beautifully that Yaha aso aso saha aham asmi. That is, I am he, the supreme Purusha, the supreme reality underlying everything. I am he. That is, I am not separate from the Brahman. I am the Brahman, Tattvamasi. And Swami Vivekananda is beautifully making us understand this very fact with a beautiful analogy between waves and ocean. He's saying that just like the waves are nothing but the ocean itself, in the same way, you and I, and we all are nothing but the Brahman itself. Now, when one realizes this truth, he understands it is the Brahman, it is the very inner being of me who has become this all, who has become all this whole universe. So the whole universe, the whole world is nothing but my own family. And when one gets elevated by this truth, then then spontaneously he understands that it is possible to enjoy delight through renunciation, through detachment, through sacrifice of our self-interests. Just like a mother, we see that in our day-to-day life, how a mother delights by sacrificing. She is not taking things from her children. That is how she is not happy. She is enjoying more delight, a higher kind of delight, when she is sacrificing for her children. When a lover is sacrificing for his beloved, that time he, through renunciation, through sacrifice, he is enjoying. So through renunciation, we can enjoy delight, but the very sense, the very knowledge we have to acquire. That is all, sir. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Kseya Roy, for your level of confidence. I appreciate your confidence. Number one. Number two. Well, I should like to add here is Jayanti Madam, coming to you. Well, the more we renunciate, the more and more we renunciate, the more and more we go away from this unreal changing world, getting closer and closer to that unchanging supreme reality. So this is the beauty in the renunciation. The more you will be renunciating, the more you are going away from this unreal world, getting closer and closer to that unchanging supreme reality. So that is the joy, that is the beauty in the act of renunciation. Thank you so much, Kseya. Well, you have said this well, very nice. Well, over to Jayanti Madam. Well, Kseya, you want to say something?
Thank you,
Yes. Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Yeah, it's
Jayanti Madam,
a
please.
really it's a good paper, but I have some observation which I want to first thing is concept of detachment. See, this is a very fascinating concept with Buddhism. This word, in fact, started with Buddhism. The desire how to, with attachment, you have to create a state of detachment. And when it comes to Isopanisad, you have very rightly, with young age, you have understood many concepts very seriously, and I'm happy to see that. But my problem is that if you begin with Isavasya Upanishad, it's a very beautiful Upanishad, thought-provoking, and many life lesson also are giving. The first slok, as you said, that would be that interpretation also, like Isavasyam idam sarvam yat kinchit jagatyam jagatya tena tyaktena bhunjita magridha kasya vidhana. तो उसमें एक चीज सिखाया गया कि एक डिटैचमेंट होता है कि हम जिंदगी भर दूसरे को धन को देखते रहते हैं. This, as you have said, that this world has been created by the God, the Lord, and but the problem with this Upanishad is that they have used the word detachment, probably because the detachment word is a very kind of unconvincing. You can say that with the Hindu philosophy, because and also especially when you talk about in relation to karma yoga, bhakti yoga, and Gyan Yoga, you implicitly or you can interpret it in a different way, modern way interpretation. But when you come to Upanishad, the emphasis is on Gyan Yoga. And if we relate to Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga and other yogas, then probably we could miss the line of attainment of the Brahma realization. That is one way of my understanding, because Upanishad is specifically meant for giving emphasis on the Gyan Yoga and authoritativeness of the scriptures, that Sravan, Manan and Nididhyasan so is on Gyan Yoga. You may say that there is an Niskam Karma Yoga through which you can understand the text. There can be a kind of Bhakti Yoga through which you can understand the significance of Brahma or the self. You can bring all yogas into account, because that is a kind of discipline of the mind and body if you understand yoga. So my problem is that how far the word detachment will be strict sense of the term will go with the Upanishad, because obviously there is a detachment, but not, they're very strict to that detachment to the ignorance or maybe detachment to the material world, as you have said, prayers and shreyas, that prayers is material and shreyas is something which is spiritual. So, but that is what one problem only, because the Buddhism made it very clear that what is detachment they are talking about. But in Hinduism, we have four purusharthas like dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. We give equal importance to each concept, that dharma, artha, and moksha, and also kama. And where you see the detachment, that strict sense of the term in Buddhism they use, I do not. I still have a kind of confusion. If you can clear it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Well, Kseya. Well, we have with us Pramod Das sir to respond to this. Well, Professor Das.
Thank you, Kseya. She's,
Thank you, sir.
she's Lady Arjun because she's in the railway station. She's waiting for her train. So in this situation, she presented her paper like Arjuna in the battlefield. So in the adverse situation, how one presents her paper, that indicates one's capability. We can't do it in the AC room, in a very um, well decorated room with full preparation. That is the point. What is the attitude of a scholar? That in spite of my message in the chat box that I advised her to shift her to talk to the next session, she insisted on uh, presenting her paper very nicely, very aptly. And I do not agree with Jayanti Madam's comment that Upanishad is only knowledge oriented, though it appears to be. Knowledge can't go alone without karma and bhakti. Jnana karma bhakti samuchaya, that is the synthesis of knowledge, action, and devotion. What is said in the Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavad Gita is nothing but the outcome of the Upanishads. Just like Upanishad is the cow and Bhagavad Gita is milk. That is the essence of the Upanishads. In the very Isopanisad, the first verse is about Jnana Yoga, but the second verse is about Karma Yoga. And she has very clearly mentioned that the second verse is about Karma Yoga only, that how to do your action. So if we have knowledge, for what that knowledge is meant, that should be translated in the art of doing yoga karmesu kausalam, and that should be reflected in our sense of devotion. And the third one is in Upanishads and in Bhagavad Gita, we have to understand the dialectics of attachment and detachment. You cannot have complete attachment, that is a sign of destruction, and complete detachment is useless, because you have to do something for this society, for this mundane world. You can't. Your life is not meant for be a sannyasi and you leave this world, go to Himalayas and live a selfish life. No, but you have without attachment, no action is possible, no feeling is possible, and life is not also possible. Attachment is very much necessary. If a mother does not desire to give a birth, we are not born at all. We are born because of the kamana of the mother. If a mother does not desire, we are not born. So kamana is very much necessary. But that should be pursued through the sense of detachment. This is the dialectics. Similarly, in Karma Yoga, when we are doing an action, definitely I am the agent. But the opposite truth is, I am the agent. I am doing this action, but I have no sense of agency. This is the dialectics. I shall do, I am the agent, but I shall do my action without karta bhava, without the sense of agency. Then only I shall become a complete personality, complete purna bhyaktitva. This is the teaching of Upanishad. Very nicely she presented, and despite the other facts, how she recites, how her voice sounds, these are all her extracurricular activities. But so far as the content of the topic paper is concerned, she did it very well. And so far as the concept of detachment is concerned, not only she explained what is detachment, she beautifully explained the background, the cause, the root of attachment, root of ignorance, and how can we lead to that goal. The ultimate goal is a detachment is nothing but freedom. That is mukhya, paramapurusartha. Okay, so that parama purusartha is only possible through other purusartha, artha, kama, and dharma. So empirical pursuit is not totally out whenever we are seeking for the detachment, seeking for the ultimate bliss. So jnana, karma, bhakti, samuchaya. These three must be practiced by everybody, be a scientist, be a professor, be an engineer, be a common man, be a farmer. Everybody should be qualified with these three principles. Thank you, Kseya. But next time, be careful whenever you will be invited to deliver a talk.
She is not there. She has left. She has left. She is catching the
Okay,
train.
okay. Thank you, thank you.
Hello. Hello. Then we have to go for.
Sir,
Hello.
let us move to the next speaker.
Okay.
But
Okay.
we don't have time.
Vice our admin, Professor Pramod Kadas. All the participants have tried to limit their paper within the time, and I thought actually all of them have given their obligation and justice to the time. So today, the four participants, Professor four participants, Miss Kya Rai, Mr. Surojit Das, Miss Manosni Patnaik, and Mr. Chotan Das. They have all given justice to the time, and Miss Kya Rai, Mr. Surojit Das, Miss Manosni Patnaik, they have presented their paper very nicely, and they have also responded to the questions and observation made by our learned professors. And today we have a very good session. And Professor Pramod Das has also given some advice to Mr. Chotan Das because he's a PG student and he has tried to present his thought, and he has tried to give clarity in thinking and understanding and in presenting the paper. And this is a platform of learning. This is a platform of knowing something and to learn from the senior professors. So it will be a lesson for Mr. Chotan Das to learn more and more and to modify his paper and to try to know how to present paper. But actually, his paper was also a very good paper, and his topic, human values and professional ethics, is also a very good paper, and it has to be extended uh, as per the uh, suggestions of so many professors. And today, I don't have uh, the words how to propose my vote of thanks to Professor Jayanti Priyadarsan Sahu from JNU, New Delhi. And she goes and participating in all the webinars of Philosophy Family, and her suggestions and observations in Philosophy Family are very praiseworthy, and they are motivating and inspiring to all other participants and to the viewers. The viewers and participants, they are learning so many things from Professor Jayanti's observation and inspiring thought. So, on behalf of Philosophy Family, I would like to extend my thanks and gratitude to Professor Jayanti Priyadarsan Sahu of Delhi University for presence and for observation with all the participants. I extend my thanks to Professor Koresh Dasar, the esteemed judge and the senior professor of Odisha. Uh, he has given his observation, he has inspired the participants, and has also motivated the viewers that present now. And Professor Anup sir is very student friendly. He always congratulates and encourages the participants who are present their paper in philosophy family. And today he has encouraged all the participants to extend their paper and to add some new things in their papers in order to make it enriched from different point of view. And Professor Pramod Kumar Das has given this, the Armeni, he tries to invite the learning students, research scholars, and teachers to come forward to philosophy family to have their philosophical reflection, and so that it will motivate all the students and teachers of our country and abroad, so that they will be highlighted, their knowledge will be popularized, and they can give an opportunity in future programs and future events. So thanks so much, Professor Pramod Kwandas, for the beautiful observation, for the encouraging words, and for the inspiring observation for the participants and for all the viewers. Professor Dr. K. Omran Rao, while moderating the sessions, he always gives advice to the participant, and his philosophical deliberation and his philosophical reflections are generally motivates us. So I don't find in words how to propose vote of thanks and how to extend my warm feelings for Professor Dr. K. Umnan Rao. And I don't forget the name of Savani Mr. Madam, who always attends the academic programs of philosophy family, and she never forgets to give her own observation on the chat box, and it also inspires us, motivates us, and it also inspires our viewers to have their own feeling, own observation, and own queries on the chat box, so that it will be an motivational words for all. So again, I have not taken the names of so many viewers who are present in the philosophy platform in the philosophy family. I I extend my warm feelings and best wishes and gratitude to all the viewers present today. And I request all the viewers to have their presence in future events to make the academic programs of philosophy family uh, very that is so that the philosophy family will be able to provide much academic programs in future. So with this, I extend my gratitude to all the speakers, to all the organizers, to all the esteemed judges and viewers present today. Have a meaningful evening. Okay. Now over to Professor Pramod.
Dr. Maharana,
Oh, okay, okay.
and really it is wonderful to hear your observation after the deliberation of the students and participants.
Thanks.
Beautifully you do that. Okay,
Thanks so much.
thank you, sir. With this, the meeting is declared closed. Thank you.